with Prabhupada in his rooms. At this time, I think Prabhupada was seated on the Vyasasana, so it was a bit of a more formal darshan, I think. And Henry spoke up and asked something, and I'm sorry I don't remember exactly what he asked, but something about the names. And Prabhupada became very serious, very grave again. And he kind of snapped at him. You have a name. I have a name. Why are you denying Krishna his name? He's the supreme person. You know, certainly he deserves a name. And it went like that. And this man was quite crushed to be sort of reprimanded in that way. And he fell silent. And that was that for the darshan. But early the next morning, when Srila Prabhupada was taking his walk out towards the northwestern campus or out towards the Lake Michigan shore, he was walking out in that direction. Evanston wasn't far from Lake Michigan, really, that temple. He met Henry, because Henry had gotten up early and was also over that way. And Srila Prabhupada walked right up to him. Oh, Henry, how are you? How are you this morning? And greeted him by name and asked him how he was doing, and was so friendly that when Henry told me about this afterwards, he was just overwhelmed with appreciation of Srila Prabhupada. So I guess that's an example of how Srila Prabhupada could switch. One moment he appeared to be throwing thunderbolts, and the next moment flowers. Yeah. So really and truly the friend of everyone. But sometimes he has to be the surgeon and lance the boil, for instance. So that was, I think that's everything that I remember from Evanston. A little later, Srila Prabhupada was answering questions. He was quite relaxed. It was a very informal gathering. He wasn't seated on a big seat, but just on some cushions. So practically on the same level as his guests and the rest of us. One of the guests, a man, asked about China. As I recall, his point was that the Chinese, being such a significant population of the entire planet, didn't seem to have any access to Krishna consciousness. What about them? And when he asked that question, over the next few moments, Srila Prabhupada's demeanor changed in a very dramatic and amazing way. His posture became straighter. He lifted his head. His face became grave and sober. And he raised his finger, just exactly like you would see a picture of Madhvacharya or one of the great, our great predecessors. And he said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead says, first they must suffer severely, then they can have some Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the bomb is now ready, and in the next war it will be used. You can imagine how everyone was trembling. What I remember most from that was the change, that here was Srila Prabhupada, so affectionate, so accommodating, so familiar. And then suddenly, here is Jagat Guru, the representative of Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, the viceroy speaking for the king. It was remarkable. On a subsequent visit, Srila Prabhupada came to Detroit, and by that time the temple had moved up to the third floor. An attic space had been converted into a very nice temple room, and Shri Radha Kunja Bihari were there, of course, all the deities. So during that visit, the incident that I remember is that Srila Prabhupada was going to take Charnamrita, and I was there at the Charnamrita stand, I guess, to offer to Srila Prabhupada, and it was a nice, large, marble-topped table with the Charnamrita, and then the silver pitcher and things for water. So I offered Prabhupada the Charnamrita and rinsed his hand. I had a little towel. But then Prabhupada stopped and he said, "This is not right. The Charnamrita should never be on the same stand as the washing water." He was quite grave about that. And then he went on. So I was the temple president in Cleveland at that time, so immediately when we returned to our temple, we made sure that things were adjusted properly. Je anilo